Tonight, more proof that the cover-up is often worse than the crime. State troopers say this psychiatrist tried to cover up a crime using nail polish remover and hairspray.
A Southland psychiatrist is accused of illegally importing parts that can be used to make guns more dangerous.
They say the psychiatrist, who is in good standing with the state medical board, is in big trouble with the feds.
A Florida psychiatrist faces up to life in prison after being found guilty of attempting to kill her ex-husband.
A psychiatrist is in trouble with the law again after more women have come forward accusing him of sexually assaulting them.
The psychiatrist is accused of having inappropriate sexual contact with 8 patients. In May, he was charged with criminal sexual conduct after police say one woman came forward.
A lot of evidence. We spent 4 months calling evidence. There's over 68 exhibits. We've had 9 complainants, and 3 of them now are victims.
Sentencing was adjourned for the New Hartford psychiatrist found guilty of sexual abuse.
The psychiatrist who sexually abused his patients was back in Utica City Court today. Dr. Surendra Jory was convicted in February.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Charles Fisher, guilty.
Guilty on several counts of abuse of a child. The 64-year-old former Austin State Hospital child psychiatrist faced several charges after former patients said he molested them during their session.
A prominent Canberra psychiatrist has been suspended from practicing by the Medical Board of Australia.
El Cajon psychiatrist is behind bars tonight, charged with molesting women he was supposed to be helping.
He was arrested this morning, and now he is right where his accusers say he belongs, in jail. Pride says she knows a total of 5 victims, but claims there may be as many as 8. Some were longtime patients of Fajerman's at San Ysidro Health and his office in El Cajon. The jail log says Fajerman faces 1 count of sexual exploitation of a patient and 4 of sexual battery.
News this morning that impacts you. A trial starts for a former child psychiatrist accused of molesting boys at Austin State Hospital.
A psychiatrist who has offices in Gulf Shores and Opelika is facing federal drug charges after agents with the Drug Enforcement Agency raided his offices.
The Pembroke Pines psychiatrist charged with illegally dispensing methamphetamine to patients as well as using the drug himself.
A Delaware psychiatrist has lost his medical license after being accused of having sex with his patients.
The embattled former chief of staff at the Toma VA is setting up a private psychiatry practice in La Crosse. Some patients at the VA referred to Houlihan as, quote, the candy man in reference to the number of narcotics he prescribed.
A former professor of psychiatry at Yale is under investigation by the university over complaints of sexual misconduct.
At 6 allegations of sexual misconduct involving a former Bartlesville psychiatrist.
He surrendered his license. He's being sued by patients.
New at 6, a well-known Bay Area psychiatrist is under investigation this evening. New documents show he can't see female patients without a chaperone.
Ago, our cameras were rolling when a local psychiatrist accused of groping several of his patients posted bail. His accusers say he used his position to take advantage of people for years.
After he ignored our questions, the I-team caught up to the doctor outside his office near Portland. Critics say you should have lost your license by now. What's your response to that? Why would you prescribe so many pills to someone with a history of overdosing?
But if you think we've got it bad in the UK, the depth some fraudsters go to across the pond is simply astonishing. In Miami, Florida, Fernando Mendez Villamil qualified as a doctor in 1998 and set up his own psychiatric practice. 4 years later, he began defrauding the government healthcare providers in a scam that would last for the next 14 years and cost the US government millions of dollars. By 2004, he'd earned the title of the most prolific drug provider in Florida, issuing some 62,000 prescriptions a year, costing $12.2 million. That's over 1,000 prescriptions a week. But his epic attempt at fraud didn't go unnoticed. 3 years later, Medicaid received a complaint from a private investigator called Ken Kramer. Kramer had noticed that Mendez Villamil was prescribing a huge and totally disproportionate amount of antipsychotic drugs to children. The information was passed on to the US Senate, who made the prescription records available to the public. By that time, he had an astounding 96,000 mental health patients on his books. Medicaid terminated him as a healthcare provider, meaning he could no longer claim any money from them. In January 2016, he was accused of running one of the largest fake prescription schemes in US history and was immediately arrested, sentenced to 12 years and 7 months in prison, and ordered to pay back costs of over $50 million.